So guys, the rest of the story is involving that sign. Attitude is everything. Pick a good one. Moose, stop. Oh, you bow for everybody? Good boy. Okay, guys, I am giving you an update on the 55. Moose and me are out here doing some just basic cleanup, kind of getting ready for parts to come in. As you can tell, there is not a carburetor on that manifold, and probably can't notice this because if you didn't pay real close attention, looks like a new radiator. Well, the new radiator happened because of that nice job right there. You can see kind of a hey Moose, you're right in my shot, man. What's going on? Well, I was driving it the other day. I had a little bit of an issue with my fan blade, and as you can tell, made a nice indentation into my radiator, which I have to mention is a Griffin custom-made racing radiator, about 900 bucks, and that was a lot of fun. Not. So my friends at Champion Cooling sent me out a direct fit 3-core all aluminum radiator. I'll put links and everything below as far as what I purchased. It went into the 55 perfectly, fit like a glove, right there on the flanges. Got a little bit of I hit that front belt pulley a little bit a couple times, bent some pins, but other than that it went in really well. And so I got the thing put together, got it running, and it was essentially running really great. Took it to Christmas Eve service, was going to have my dad drive it, and from the restaurant to the church. And when I got there, it was running great. Hey Moose, you just keep an eye on things, make sure I'm doing all right. Yep. So we get done eating at the restaurant, had a really nice meal, getting ready to go to Christmas Eve service. I'm really excited because Dad finally gets to drive the 55. It's running great. As I mentioned in my last video, I had put a new fuel pump on it, this Holley fuel pump, and it was working really, really good. As we're leaving the restaurant, come out, start it up, it runs, starts up just like that. And then runs for about 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden it just goes whoa, 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 and just dies. Trying to start it again, it will not start. It will not start. I mean, I'm cranking it, will not start. I get out, and I smell gas pretty bad. Of course, it's flooded because I'm trying to pump it to get it started. Well, what I think happened was the back bowl on this carburetor. And so I've got this carburetor right here. It's my Holley carb that I took off. This back bowl was just pouring out gas, and so it was flooding up. So finally, adjusted the air fuel mixture again, adjusted the idle, just so I could keep it running. Because guys, remember, I've got like 20 minutes to get to Christmas Eve service, so I've got to figure this out. Don't have any tools with me. Luckily, I had my pocket knife, so I could adjust some things in the parking lot. Dad's excited. He wants to drive this thing, but there's no way that he can drive it because I can barely even keep it running. I'm driving to church literally with left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and having to shift into neutral every time I come to a stop to try to keep it running and not dying. And he was kind of unfamiliar with the car anyway, so I said, Dad, sorry, I'm just going to have to drive it. So Dad's riding with me in the passenger seat. I got my 2 nephews in the back. I'm just burning it over to church. I mean, I broke a lot of laws, and I apologize. But I was just trying to get there as quick as possible. We're late. I'm trying to keep it running. I'm keeping an eye on temperature and all this other stuff, trying to make sure that the car's running fine. If this thing catches on fire, just get out the passenger door. I'll stop long enough to let you guys out, and then I'm gone, and I'm going to get it away from you guys as far as I can to a safe spot. And just let it burn, I guess, because I thought the thing was going to catch on fire. Gas was just pouring out of this deal. Well, we finally get to church. I pull into the church parking lot, shut her down, and all of a sudden smoke just starts coming out of the hood, and I'm like, oh crap. Dad, get out. Nephews, get out. I get out, pop the hood, and I'm expecting to see flame. And it turns out the fan, for some reason, had moved and cut into the radiator, as I showed you earlier. And obviously, coolant's just spraying all over my engine. And so it wasn't smoke, thank God, it was steam. But I'm trying to figure this out. I'm in a dark parking lot, trying to get into church. I'm like, what? So I shut her down, lock her up, go into church, sit there through Christmas Eve service, which is, by the way, a beautiful service, and come out thinking to myself, okay, what's going on? Did I lose my water pump? And the bearing kind of came out a little bit on the fan, on the pulley. Is the pulley bad? Did I leave a tool inside the engine compartment that maybe slipped down there? Because I had noticed right before I came in to church that the tips of my the fan were bent up. All right, guys, so I got the fan, and you can see, if I get a close-up here, hopefully this thing focuses in on it, that the tips of the fan blade, like 4 out of the 6 fan blade tips are bent. And so if you turn it this way, it's on the engine like this. It actually spins this way in reverse, and you can tell right here they're bent in. So like they hit something. Well, sure enough, they hit the bottom of the radiator. So something had to have either. Here's kind of what I've thought. I've been going through in my mind what was going on, and either I was like, okay, do I have a bad motor mount? I've got something going on with that front pulley. Is the radiator, was it fully seated in and moving around or something? So I go through each one of those steps, and to this day I really can't figure out what happened. When I bought it and when I was inspecting the car, this fan blade was really close to the radiator, and just a little too close for my comfort. Plus I think the fan blade itself is a little too big. This is a 17-inch fan blade, and I think they could have got away with a 13-inch or a 15-inch. But so I think what happened was the fan kind of started inching out. They didn't get those bolts all the way centered down. There's 4 bolts on that pulley, and I think it just kind of crawled out a little bit, hit the bottom. It was kind of, the engine's sitting on an angle like this, whereas the radiator's sitting straight up and down like this. And so I think it just inched out enough to where it came and hit the bottom of that radiator, like I showed you earlier, and cut that. Well, luckily it didn't get into the core of it, but it got into the weld. It got into the weld at the bottom of that radiator, where the core and basically the transmission cooler tank sits, or the transmission fluid tank sits. And so it just got a little bit of fluid coming out, and that's of course under high pressure sprayed all over my engine. So after church, come out. I can't leave it in the church parking lot. It's Christmas Eve. I've got good insurance that offers flatbed towing, but what's the chances of getting a wrecker on Christmas Eve? And so I just was like, screw it. I'm driving it at least to my brother-in-law and sister's house, which is about 3 miles away. I think I can make it. I fill it up with water as much as I can get, and just crank it. Just get over there as fast as I can. I pull into the driveway, and it's leaking a little bit at the house after the second drive. And I get in, I undo the radiator cap to take a look at what's inside, how much leaked out, and all that good stuff. It was still fairly full, and as soon as I open that radiator cap, water just starts pouring out. So as soon as I release that pressure, or release that vacuum, it would release all the water and the coolant. And so we take a few minutes. Mom and Dad come over to the house and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it there. They didn't have enough space in their driveway, and it was supposed to rain that night or the next day. So I went ahead and took a chance and said, I'm gonna just drive it home. Gets home fine. I'm checking the temperature on the temperature gauge as I'm driving home. Never gets above 160. I mean, it stayed really cool. It stayed fine. And so I pull it into the driveway, shut it off. Water's dripping a little bit, pull it into the shop here, and it has not left this spot. And so I go to investigating, figure out the pulley thing. I think that's what it is. I'm just bummed because that's such a nice radiator. It's a Griffin, just a really nice radiator. But again, Champion hooked me up, sent me one really quick, got it in, got it all hooked up, and it started running great. No leaks, kept cool, no problem. But that's when the rest of the story begins. And I've got a bunch of signs up here on the wall here in my shop just to kind of give me inspiration and just kind of make it a little bit better environment for car guys and things like that. And that is the one that I kind of key in on a lot. That's one right there I key in on a lot. This one is just funny. But this is the one that I key into a lot, because attitude is everything. Well, the reason I say that is because after that happened, I'm getting the thing tuned up, I'm getting it warmed up, I'm running it, trying to kind of redo the carb because I had jacked with it in the parking lot to try to keep it running. Get in, and fuel is just pouring everywhere. It's coming out of the front bowl, it's coming out of the back bowl, it's coming out. I mean, if this thing has a hole in it, it was coming out. Fuel was coming out anywhere. Hey, Moose, you checking it out? And so I was like, what in the heck is going on? I fixed the fuel pump. Now I'd put in a whole new cooling system. Now I'm trying to get it running, and fuel is just pouring out all over my engine. And again, what I think has happened, guys, this all goes back to the fuel pump. The fuel pump was jacked up because I think it was E85 gas had been set in it for a really long time, and just started eating up all those rubber components. So I changed out the fuel pump, got that all done. Now the next weakest link, other than, like I said, the radiator thing was kind of a fluke deal in my opinion. But the next weakest link in this whole entire fuel system chain is obviously the carburetor. Same thing I think happened to the carburetor. It sat for so long that all the gaskets and everything just dried up, and I had fuel leaking out of here, I had fuel leaking out of here, I had fuel leaking out of the diaphragm at the bottom. I did not want to rebuild this thing because I've had so much trouble with these dual bowl setups over the years. This is a 600 CFM Holley carb, kind of just a general carb, not really souped up for anything. I went out and bought a Demon because I've heard so many good things. So I went ahead and took it up to 625 CFM, and I'm going to install that bad boy on this 355. It's got an Edelbrock Performer RPM square bore manifold, and I've heard so many good things about Demon carbs. And I've never tried one, so I'm going to try it myself and see how it goes. They say the throttle response is just phenomenal. The tip-in is great. It's just a really well designed carburetor. So I'm going to try it out, and I'll give you guys an update on how that goes. Remember, attitude is everything. Pick a good one. I'm trying to pick a good one. I'm hoping that I'm not just fixing the next weak link in the chain and then something else goes after that. So really excited to get this thing up and running for the next owner. As you guys know, I am selling this 55. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that the next owner is getting a good high quality parts. And I'm going to do it right for them and make sure that it's running to peak performance before I sell it, obviously. And obviously they can go back and look at these videos, and I'll tell them this up front of, you know, kind of all the fun I've had in the past 2 weeks and all the catastrophes that I saved them from because it's happening to me under my ownership, and so everything will be upgraded by the time they get it. So the next owner's getting a good, well-sorted car. Moose, I know all you want to do is follow me around, and it's really hard to get a shot of you. Everybody, oh, see? You just followed me. You got to stay there. Hey, can you sit? Sit. No, I didn't say jump. Oh, big boy. Yeah. Say hello, Moose. All right, buddy. Well, I can't show you Moose because he just follows me everywhere. Whoa, maybe I hurry. There he is. He just wants to follow me around and give me handshakes all the time and then jump on me. Last shot of the 55 there. See if I can get it focused in. The Holley carb. Moosey, you are crazy. All right. Guys, appreciate it. God bless. And thanks for watching. Thanks for all the subscriptions. I'm up over 100 subscribers now. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the support and all the comments. It's really been a lot of fun. So me and Moose are signing off. Moose, see you. Are you going to say bye? Okay. We'll see you. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.